It is my pleasure to introduce our guest for today, Sonia Kutty, with over 2 decades of experience and as the Vice President of Global HR at Quest Global. Sonia is a true powerhouse in her field. She is known for her unwavering passion for people and her ability to lead diverse multi-country and multicultural teams. Being the extraordinaire she is, Sonia believes in the power of managing people, processes, and change, ensuring that all 3 facets work harmoniously together. As for me, my name is Sonia Kutty and I head content strategy at Global Talent Exchange, where we're on a mission of mobilizing talent from tech hubs around the world to areas that are being held back by skill shortages. Warm welcome once again, Sonia. It's a great privilege to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Samira, and my pleasure to be with you today at GTX.
So before we get into the details, Sonia, you're someone that a lot of people look up to, right? And I really want to know, take you back and want to explore your career journey. I want you to walk me through what were the key milestones that made you into this amazing leader that you are today. What stands out from your journey today?
Samira, I don't know whether it is extraordinary or not, but I think there have been a lot of people who have actually made it what it is today. And that's the big part that I'm grateful for, right? So my career in terms of working in the HR side of things started with Toyota Kirloskar Motor. So that's where I started my journey in terms of my career. And that was a great learning experience, working in, and that's a manufacturing organization. They had just started production of the Qualis car in India. And that's when I joined the team over there as a very junior executive on the HR side. But the learning that I had was tremendous. The Japanese are known for the way they, manage process and planning. And I think that kind of stood me in good stead. And after which I joined Quest Global as we are known today. And at the time that I joined them, we were about, close to maybe 300 people. And my journey has been one where, Quest Global has grown by itself from being that small 300 member organization to the 18,000 member strong organization that it is today. And I had that opportunity to, play multiple roles within the HR team, a little bit outside it, and at the same time, explore a lot of things within the organization. That I think gave me a chance to kind of, find my place within this fraternity, the HR fraternity, but also to learn. And I think that's one thing that Quest Global does provide is this immense learning opportunity and to do what it takes. So I think that was the single silver lining. And like I said, there have been n number of people who have helped. It doesn't come easy, right? But I think when you get that support, it becomes possible.
Definitely. People play a massive role. But more credit to you, Sonia. I really want to know what personality characteristics, of you would you say have helped you in this journey of becoming the person that you are today? Sure. Yeah.
I think I'm somebody who sees the glass half full than half empty. And that helps, in a room full of dung, I'll say, where's the pony, rather than saying this is a place full of, rubbish. But I think that's one thing that has stood me in good stead. The second thing has been, I would say, that, the confidence to take on anything. I think that would be my second big, stand by me characteristic that has been there. And the third thing that I would fall upon is that never say die attitude. Tomorrow is another day and we shall live to see it. I think these 3 are the things that I would say have just, because everyone, I don't think anybody has it easy. Even if they tell you that's not true, everybody has their ups and downs. Right. But I think it's just the way you look at it that makes you overcome and then kind of get onto it. So I think these 3 would be my top 3, Samira.
Taking one day at a time.
That's true.
Yes.
And also believing that the next day is going to be a better one.
Absolutely. Definitely. And also, kind of pushing out of your comfort zone small steps matter, right? I mean, do you have any tips on how, someone can actually push that comfort zone?
I think trying different things, never say no just because you think you can't do it or you assume that it's going to be a difficult ask, right? I think that kind of sets you back, right? So unless you try something, you don't even know how it feels like. And I think my learning has been that some of those most tough journeys are the ones that give you the greatest learnings. Right. So just for the sake of, not being sure of something, never say no. And I've also found that a lot of people sometimes stop short saying that, hey, this is not my core work, or this is not something that is, kind of adjacent to what I do. And hence, I would not want to venture there. My thing is, spread yourselves a little wide. Okay. It really helps to kind of hone you, to kind of rub off any rough edges and get you into a better place. So that I think is very important for any professional. It doesn't matter which area, which function you're in. Give everything a shot, and you'll find that your learnings are immense, and you really have fun doing those things, and you appreciate those things that go well then. Sometimes it's just that as well. So I think give yourself a chance is what I would really pass on as advice.
Wow. So I think it's, as they say, you either succeed or you learn, right? So, but
Absolutely.
Either way.
Absolutely. Yeah, well said, Samira.
Yes. One more aspect that I'm really curious about, Sonia, is that you're a, commendable leader, but you're also a wife and a mother, right? And these two are completely, immense responsibilities. So how do you manage? How do you go about balancing these two aspects of your life?
Yeah. Again, I go back to the people who I have, in my life, and I'm truly deeply appreciative of the roles that they play. I won't even go in to say that you can balance things, Samira. I think it's a myth. There is no such thing called as you can balance everything. It is more like a juggling act that you have to do in order to keep up with stuff. And sometimes when you're about to drop a ball, it's very important that you have somebody who can just, reach out and grab that ball for you, right? So I've been lucky in that way, okay? So my thing is, usually my mantra is that when you do something, just put yourself into it wholeheartedly. So if I'm with my kids, I kind of give them that time. It may be limited, I agree, I admit. But while with them, I try to do, what they want to do, what they have, and all of that. With my husband as well, I share this, good friendly chemistry, thankfully, touch wood. So that kind of helps also, because he's the person who will help grab that ball. And I think where I've been truly blessed is that they know that the professional side demands a little bit extra, and they're all willing to kind of work around that. So that has helped as well. I don't think the same equation would work for everyone. Everybody's equations are slightly different. The variables are often very, very different for each person. So you have to find your balance, right? This has worked for me. Maybe there's something else that works for someone else. But this has been the way that I have been able to, manage and do things. And my parents have also been extremely supportive, jumped in, pitched in whenever I needed them. So I think I had the best of all worlds over there.
That sounds amazing. I mean, that's great. So any advice to other women, other young women that are looking to get into HR as an industry, and since you've smashed the glass ceiling, how to do it?
I think a lot of people, I'll say this, Samira, is that they try to get into HR just because they think, hey, I will like it, or it's all about people, and I like to do activities, I like to interact with people. I think you have to first realize that HR is a slightly wider gamut than just that. Okay? So be very sure that you actually enjoy this, right? It does require acumen, a business acumen as well, and it requires perseverance and patience. Okay, not all problems have a solution. There is no playbook that you can go by all the way through. So first of all, I would say make sure that this is what you enjoy. Because I found if you are doing something that you truly enjoy, then you will make it work. You will make it happen. I've seen a lot of women, especially, who get into HR thinking, okay, this is going to be what I'm going to do well. And finally, they realize it's not necessarily their cup of tea, okay? And then other things take precedence. I don't have time, my family, my, different things. But I've usually seen when you enjoy something, whatever that might be, right, then you find time for doing it. So I would first say, just make sure this is what you want to do. And then if this is really something that you enjoy, then make sure that you actually put a plan together as to how you'll make it happen, right? It will not go all as per plan, but I think having that thought process as to why this is critical for you, why do you want to do it, will help you actually achieve those milestones that you've set for yourself, right? My advice to women, and this may sound very contrary to maybe what's out there, is that don't think of yourself as a woman when you try to achieve things, okay? Think of yourself as the best professional out there who can outdo anybody, be it male, be it female, be it anything else. I think once you have that mindset that I can do it, you'll be able to fight all of it. Sometimes we go into the battlefield thinking of our constraints and not of our strengths. I think that is the biggest pullback that we have as we start on any journey. So my thing would be, don't give too much thought to you're a woman or that I will have constraints, I may fall back. No. Think of yourself as a professional. Think as what constraints you have as a professional, and then try to get a path into how you're going to succeed and play to your strengths. I think you'll make it. There's no ceiling, glass or otherwise that can hold you back.
Oh, wow. Amazing. I mean, that's very inspiring. I think what you're saying is come from a place of passion, come from a place of purpose, and also, I mean, don't set yourself on the back foot from the initial thinking that, I'm a woman, I'm going to be held back. So like go into it doing the best that you can, as we all are. Yes,
absolutely. And that was a brilliant summary, Samira. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sonia. So going back to what you talked about Quest and starting them joining them in such an initial stage, 300 to 18,000, my God. So what has that journey been like at Quest? How have you managed to take it to this absolute massive entity?
Yeah, so we are Quest Global. That's how we refer to ourselves now. Initially, we were Quest, and now we are Quest Global, Samira. That journey has been exciting because that growth has come from two sources. There's been that organic growth that has come where we have grown from within, but we have also done a huge amount of mergers, acquisitions, rebadging. All of that has also been part of that growth story. So it has come from two folds. Now, from an HR professional standpoint, that's like a gold mine of learning, right? When you can get your hands onto all these different areas of doing it, growing from a small company into a large company, but through myriad ways, etc. I think that's kind of opened up a whole lot of areas where I could learn, where I could contribute. So, starting more like an HR generalist, then getting into more like specialization in compensation, benefits, performance management, into organization, development, design, etc. So that entire ambit of activities is something that I got a flavor of, right? It also meant working with businesses across the globe, right? Working with cultures across the globe. And I think that is something that has actually helped me become a better professional over the years. But like I said during the course of this conversation, I think there were enough and more opportunities. It was only a matter of, grabbing them and then saying, hey, can be done. Let's do it. Let's give it a shot. That actually got me so far. Okay, so I would say for everybody out there, these things are common. Just making sure that you're available. You grab those things that are there. When you get a ride on a rocket, you don't say which seat, right? You just grab it. So I think that has been the philosophy that I've had, and that has helped me in good stead. And of course, I have enjoyed every bit of it, like I said, so this is, I don't think I would choose any other career or anything else to do. This is my calling.
Amazing. And grab them you did. I mean, the opportunities clearly shows. So what is, like you said, there's no playbook to HR. I mean, you're writing the rules every step of the way. So what is your personal approach to people management, to teams at Quest Global? How do you approach people management?
I think, just from an organization perspective, we clearly know that people is our game, right? We're a service, we're an engineering service company. So people is what constitutes our business, right? We don't have any plant anywhere, no manufacturing unit anywhere to say, hey, that's an asset. So people ultimately are our assets. So what I have realized, Samira, is that, you can have rules, policies, regulations, which becomes extremely essential as you grow, especially. You can't necessarily do it one by one, right? So you do have to have those guidelines. But like you yourself said, one playbook is not going to answer the questions. So the more important thing is that you are ready for whenever that change comes to you, either as an individual or as a way of doing things. And unless you're ready for that and open to accepting that, hey, my playbook or my rule book or my policy is not answering everything, and that maybe I have to think some more, that actually gets you to always be on your toes as well as always provide solutions. So thinking from a solution mindset, being a partner where you're providing solutions to your stakeholders, internal, external, whoever they might be, I think that is a game changer for any professional in this field. The moment you say, I'm going to go by the playbook, this is what I'm going to do just because my rules and policies say so, I think you're setting your, on the back foot, yourself on the back foot. You're not necessarily thinking a solution. So I would always say, even if it's seeming like an exception, think of a solution, because usually you'll find that there are multiple situations where you have to think on your feet. And unless you do so, you'll make yourself redundant if you're not doing that and being a true solution provider. Because if a rule book can solve everything, then what's
your use,
right?
Yeah.
So I think that is very important as you play this game, to always think solution and to say, hey, how am I going to solve that challenge? And this, by the way, post-COVID especially, the whole game has changed so much.
Definitely.
Right? And to stay relevant has been by itself a very, very cerebral activity, I would say.
Even the last few months, we're seeing such change happen. So, I mean, was that a problem at Quest, and was that something that you had to find a solution to?
I wouldn't say that it was cakewalk or it was very easy at Quest Global. Okay, I think definitely there have been so many changes that have happened in the last couple of months, right? And also I think the complexity comes because we are a very global organization, and the same thing that for example, what we may see happening in the United States is not what you see happening in India. It's not what you see happening in the Far East, right? So those dynamics are very different. How people think, what they have come to accept, and what is reality for them has been very changed. And to compound that, there's also technology that's playing its own game in the whole sphere of things. So just being mindful of these and seeing how things evolve has been quite a challenge, right? But to play it to our strengths and to make sure that we as an employer also stay relevant has been the crux of it, right? So what we have tried to do is to realize that it's not going to be one solution that works across. Okay, I think that's something that we are very clear about. We have realized that you have to tailor it to different cultures, to different geographies, to different people needs that exist across our workforce, and make sure that what we are offering is something that stays relevant. So we have kind of, adapted to that, Samira, and made sure that we as an organization come through as an employer who is thinking with our people and providing them solutions that works from an HR perspective. That's been our approach over the last couple of months. And yes, it hasn't been easy. We are learning. Every day I am learning so much.
Yeah. Thinking quick on your feet, I think, is a necessity in a role such as yours, definitely. The global environment is constantly changing, bringing me to ask you, where solid supporters and advocates for global talent and talent mobility, right? And that's something that you do as well at Quest Global. You handle multiple teams across geographies, right? That's one of your things. I just want to ask you, how is it? How is it to manage global teams? Of course, it might have its downsides, upsides. So, what do you feel like managing a global team is like?
I think it's fun, okay, first of all, because it gives you a chance to savor what each team brings, each culture brings. It also gives you a chance to understand the challenges from a place beyond where you may be located, or which may be your largest center. So those have been extremely interesting for me, Samira. But over and beyond that, I think the only way you can make global teams thrive or succeed is by giving them the freedom to do their own thing. So while you may have, something that runs as a all-encompassing thread, there is something that is common within the entire function. But for global teams, I think it's equally important that you give them the levers and the freedom to do their own things. And to manage things, because the moment you say that one rule fits all, I think you are not setting up yourself for success. So my belief is that you should have competent people in each global team who are capable of taking those decisions and running the show, and to have a common chemistry between the team, to also know that you're here for a larger purpose, right? If you have these two things blended in, then I think global teams become fun, they become exciting, and they are able to do their own thing and provide that value to the business, which is the most essential. So that I think is very important when you lead global teams. You cannot assume that you can lead the show and that one person can make the whole act go through. That freedom and that flexibility has to be there.
Okay. So, like we talked about change, and since this is an industry that is ever evolving, engineering services, I want to see, like, how do you see this industry, transform over the next few years, say 5 years, and how do you see your role as an HR professional evolve with it? I mean, we're seeing a lot of technology entering the space. So, yeah, what are your views on it?
Oh, absolutely, and I think you hit it on the nail, Samira. A lot of technology is entering this industry, right? The workforce expectations are changing. It's and the change has been pretty. Even if I look at it from a span of from a year span kind of a perspective, it has changed and become very different over the last few months, I would say, right? Like 24, 36 months, the entire workforce itself has changed. We are also seeing needs where people want to manage their time, gig economy, which was always a, kind of a key word, but we never really felt it. So now has become more of a reality. Remote working, hybrid working, all of that has also become a need in this industry. And the thing is that engineering as an element is something that we are seeing, hugely evolving in the space of in these months. And I think it's going to become a game changer as we move in. So engineering design is going to be something that is going to change the way each of us actually lives our lives. So I see Quest Global playing a very key fundamental role in this whole space. And like I said, the whole talent that we have in this group is also changing very fast. Okay, initially I think we were looking at engineers and how they do their work, but today it's about, I think, more about the engineering mindset more than anything else. Okay, and it's about how people see a problem and how they bring out a solution to it, and can we actually provide that solution, which could be all across the product cycle of the engineering wireframe, so as to speak, right? So how a person does that is becoming, and for us to be relevant as an employer to provide those opportunities to people who we have, and we kind of do the entire product life cycle. I think that is what is most important for us, and how HR partners provide that solution, make sure that we have that talent readily available for ourselves, and that the talent feels engaged to be part of Quest Global is, I think, the crux that we are working through. Not all answers in place, but I think we'll get there.
Amazing. I'm sure you will. And so striking the right balance between, using too much of technology while still maintaining that human touch that is so critical in this
Mm.
HR space. So, I mean, while we're very excited about the technology that is entering the space, do you think that it will overshadow the human touch, or how do we regain it?
I think technology will enter this space. There's no doubt about it. I don't think we can be, oblivious to that fact or kind of get into a state and say that won't happen. It will. But it's also key to understand that certain things are a little beyond technology, right? Just like one playbook doesn't usually give you all the answers that you need. Similarly, technology cannot address the whole spectrum of human needs and emotions that is part and parcel of our game. So from a solutioning mindset, I don't think technology will be able to bridge that, not yet, at least not what I have seen yet. But definitely some realms and some aspects are definitely, and I think we should also embrace it, because that it really makes us more effective, more efficient as a group, as providing solutions. So I'm not averse to it, or I'm not kind of trying to fight it. But it should be relevant and it should provide value. I think that's what is important. So my play going forward is going to be to blend, take as much technology where it works, where it serves a purpose, and then use human potential where that is required, and try to get the best of both worlds. I think that's my mantra.
Amazing. So, just one last question before we get into a fun segment. I want to know, what is the current state of, gender diversity in engineering right now? I mean, of course, we've seen some progress. There has been progress, but to what extent, as someone in that field?
Yeah. So definitely, okay, I think we have made progress, not just as Quest Global, but I would say largely in this space, right? And what is most important is that organizations are actually giving it that place to say gender diversity is important, it's part of our agenda, and that itself makes sure that, people have it in their views and they're trying to do something actively to move that needle. So that is definitely happening, and I've seen that swing quite a bit. I think where focus is required is to move that gender diversity to the higher levels in the organization.
Okay.
Right. Usually what I've seen is that, tremendous progress in just getting in a more gender diverse workforce, especially at the entry or next to entry at that level. But beyond mid managers is where it still becomes a vacuum. Okay, and I think how do we actually make sure that we have that gender diversity traverse across the whole length and breadth of the organization is still something that requires a lot of work. And that's where I think companies need to focus on, so that we get that part right. And I feel that that also has an effect, because once you get that top level right, then the percolation below will happen automatically. So that's where I think we need focus.
Absolutely. So now I want to do a rapid fire with you. Just a few quick questions, and hopefully they're a little fun. So what is Sonia Kutty's go-to productivity hack? I want to know.
1 hour, stick to the work, no diversions, and then promise yourself a good break at the end of it. Most things get done.
So what does that break usually look like for you?
A sweet treat, Samira.
Awesome. So outside of work, leaving aside all of this, over the weekend or otherwise, what are your personal passions or interests, hobbies? What?
I love cooking. I don't do too much of it, so I love, that's a release for me. I like to be amidst nature. Okay, something that Bangalore is losing quite fast, unfortunately, where I live out of. But that's another thing. Anywhere where you have a lot of greenery or a lot of open space, etc., is something that's very calming to me.
Oh, that's nice. Is there a go-to favorite book that you have?
Mine is anything fiction is something that I can consume very easily. I love stories, storytelling. Anything with a story, I can get into it very, very fast. So fiction, anything I could consume. But if it's non-fiction, I would go for something on the behavioral lines, like a Dan Ariely. That would be my go-to author for anything that he writes. Yeah.
Awesome. So one last question. A lot of people are going to be seeing this. What is your message to the HR fraternity and to candidates that might be looking out for an opportunity in this space? What would be your one message to them?
I think this is a brilliant time for HR, just with everything happening and where we find ourselves from a talent as well as a people space. So if you have an interest, if you think you're the right person, just jump onto the bandwagon. And for people who are already in this space, I would say, don't stop yourself. Think wide, think expansively, because we've always played to, a certain set as to what HR can and will do. But today, I think we can actually break those shackles. We can do whatever we think is right from a business, from a professional standpoint. So just grab that opportunity and make yourself as relevant as possible and as thick a business partner as you desire you can. Because I think there's no time as good as today.
Amazing. This was a fascinating conversation, Sonia. I'm going to be going back to it and re-listening to your insights on passion and purpose and all of that. Thank you so much for being here today. It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Samira. I think it was great having this conversation, and it was brilliant how you were capturing, synthesizing, distilling everything. So thank you. The pleasure is all mine. Thanks so much for your time.